that's why I never raced NASCAR and iRacing, because there's really no racecraft to be had there. Just saying. Or respect, for that matter.
Yeah. When you don't treat it as if it's real, then you're going to behave as if it's not real.
Exactly. So, I mean, well, so what did you see from the young guys on the art? And you sent me a picture about what it was, it USF 2000 and Pro Mazda 2000.
They released a rendering of a couple pictures of the iRacing versions of them on track. So I would assume within probably next season on iRacing, or possibly even sooner. But my guess is probably next season, because they are talking about reshuffling the divisions in what cars are in what series. So it sounds like it will be a next season release for the Tatis USF 2000 and Pro Mazda versions. Same chassis, just the upgraded 100 horsepower, aerodynamics, and the like. So.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, because I was on iRacing. I'm like, where is it? I think Jared's a liar. I don't see it here. I still see the F3 and
yeah, it was a
that...
tweet that the iRacing Twitter account put out a couple days ago of the rendering, and then actually when you log into the iRacing main page, a little further down in the news, it was an April Fool's, not really an April Fool's, but they announced it on April 1st that the two cars would be released.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can't see who's on and who's not right now. Let's see here.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so what's new? What's going on in the world of sports right now as we wait for Oliver? This happens all the time. When I told Jared just to start it at 8, so you guys can see like what we do for like the first 15 minutes before a show, is basically screw everything up before we get it all together. So it sounds like we know what we're doing. But you think after 5 years we would?
Yeah.
Always trying something.
Yeah, I put together some new stuff today and finally getting all the kinks worked out. I'm sure you guys can see where Ollie is supposed to be on screen, but he isn't quite yet.
I think I might have. I think I might have gave him a side step like, huh? What do you mean? How's he know Pernella? I was like, right on, Pernella Askew is waiting, Ollie. LOL. He went, what? I was like, Jared, what did you tell his PR rep exactly?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's an issue with my Skype.
Yeah, well,
probably an update. No, Microsoft. You know.
Well, as Gregorio just said, you know that I know that Frank still doesn't know.
And I never will know, Greg. And the day I do know is the day this show ends.
But they did also announce a reshuffling of the schedule for this year with the cancellation of Detroit, which I'm sure, Frank, you're just so broken up about.
Dude, I was thrilled, and like the doubleheader at IMS, I'm all about it. I'd rather go to see a Roses IMS. Two of them.
Just the concept, the idea of racing at Indy in October. I mean, especially if it was a normal year, when I could see this catching on, where you have the month of May, and oh boy, we have somebody joining us here.
Mr. Askew.
Yes, give me 1 second here.
Getting a little bit of feedback on you, Jared.
Hey, do you guys hear me?
Yep.
There he is.
You got me there?
Yep. What's up, Ollie?
Oh, sorry about that.
All good, buddy. Okay. I think it's... Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Nope, Ollie. Get a little feedback on you, buddy.
Say it again?
You getting a little bit of feedback. Like I can hear myself talking.
Okay, 1 sec.
You got it. So yeah, Jared, how's been podcasting going since from the journalism side of the last 5 years?
Oh, what was the
We
question?
said, how are you liking podcasting opposed to being just a
How's that? Can
journalist?
you hear me?
Sounds better.
Yep, I can hear you now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's
I can't hear.
it's definitely a different discipline, and it is a good complement to the journalism. I'm excited to get back to the track to be able to talk to some people and write up some stuff and be able to do some of this live kind of, maybe not just live, but some sort of podcasting element from the track too, especially after like qualifying, stuff like that, where we can possibly get to talk to some interesting people.
Like who, Missy?
That would be. You prefer Oliver, or I'm so used to calling you Ollie. I don't know if I can call you Oliver.
No, he's an IndyCar driver now. He's Oliver.
I know he's an.
Man.
I know he has made it to IndyCar, which we said back. When did we? How long ago did we meet you, Ollie?
This must have been 2016, 17.
Yeah, when you were in USF 2000.
He wasn't even in it yet. It was a week before St. Pete. Rob Howden said, "You know who you need on? Oliver Askew." And I went, "Who?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Well, you know what? I know better than to question Rob Howden." So I said, "You bet, Rob." And then we had you on, and the rest, as they say, is history. And this appearance, Oliver, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can call him whatever you want. No worries.
This will be basically you are now the most you've come on the most times as a guest, and from USF 2000 on to Pro Mazda on to Indy Lights, bigger trophy after bigger trophy after bigger trophy on to IndyCar, just like I said, but you were always too humble and bashful. Oh, guy shucks. Oh, golly gee. But see, just saying, man, so I know I speak for Missy and Jared and myself. We just want to give you a round of applause, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
just the
Yeah,
speed at which you made it, how fast you've come in. Just you haven't even been in racing for all that long in your life compared to other drivers you see coming up through the road to Indy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's obviously the scholarship system's been pretty crucial to my development, and that kind of forces me to move up as fast as possible, forces me to win championships. And I'm also on the older side of drivers who have come up through USF 2000, Pro Mazda, Indy Lights. So, and I've been racing since I was 7 years old. So I think the karting experience kind of helped speed up the process. Obviously, I'd be more prepared than I am now if I were to spend some more time in the junior levels. But yeah, I'm excited for this year for sure. Hopefully we can get going here in the next couple months. But yeah, these circumstances, I don't think anybody's been through something like this before. So
yeah, I mean, like I can't think of another driver that's gone and basically just dominated. I mean, I don't want to say Pato, but I mean, when he was here, he dominated. But it was he. I mean, he's got a whole other story that merged, and it's amazing how you were just like, "Zip, I'm here," and Pato went around the world 14 times, and now he's next to you.
right.
And it's pretty much the two youngest probably about the two most natural talented youngest drivers on the same team. Which McLaren Arrow SP, just wow, Ollie. I mean, a lot of people are happy enough to go into Juncos or something, but not that Juncos is a bad team. No, I'm not saying that, but McLaren, the likes of Fernando Alonso and all the other famous people that have been with McLaren throughout the years through F1, and now they come over here, and I mean, just shut up, Alexa. I didn't say. Did I say Alexa? Did I say Alexa? She just. I don't know what she just said. Anyway. Alexis screwed me up, Ali, but go ahead. I mean, gloat a little bit, man. How did the whole, McLaren deal come together, and just what was the media?
Oh man, Well, we were approached and in talks with multiple teams, even from USF 2000 and 2017. I mean, we didn't just start talking to IndyCar teams at the end of my Indy Lights season. So we built relationships with a few, and the most appealing option was to race with Arrow McLaren SP. So, like you said, the name is extremely historic and very prestigious, and I'm very happy to be part of a driver on the team when McLaren comes back to IndyCar. So the hype and the knowledge around the team, like inside the team with the personnel and the new people that we're bringing in, and the technologies that we're bringing in from the Formula One side is pretty awesome to see. Obviously, I've never been at this level before. I've never had more than 3 or 4 people work on my car at once. Now there's 7 or 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've enjoyed the preseason so far. It was a little anticlimactic there heading into St. Pete, but that's how many different sports series and racing series around the world got shut down on that weekend. It just so happened to be my first IndyCar weekend. So just doing what we can here now with iRacing and just using this time and finding the silver lining and trying to make the most out of this extra time here, so that I can be even more ready when we go racing.
One of the big things that I've always heard about coming up through the ranks is having to work with your engineer. Like, you go from having maybe one for the whole team to having not just your own engineer, but you have your own set of mechanics, everything else. How has that evolution been through the off season in the shop?
Yeah, so I've moved to Indianapolis now. I'm here now. I moved in November, pretty much right after I signed, and I think it's important for me to build a relationship as quick as possible around the mechanics and the engineers and the personnel. It's a very young group of people. Blair Perschbacher is my lead engineer, along with Mike Reggio, who has, both of them have a tremendous amount of experience in IndyCar, and Mike has been running Indy Lights the past couple of years. So Blair has worked with Ericsson, Wickens, and I'm drawing a blank here, but the rookies that have come to race with Schmidt-Peterson in the past. So this isn't new to him, working with a new driver heading into the series. So, but like I said, there's a lot of new faces around the team. It's not just me that's having to learn different names. It's most of the team that's kind of re-energized with not anyone. Not many people were replaced. I mean, a lot of the Schmidt-Peterson personnel is still there. It's just we took on a lot of new people, and people from McLaren as well.
And just kind of follow up.
Mikhail Lation.
Yeah,
that's the name I was looking for. Sorry.
Kyle, he was quite the interesting talent to come over from Russia there for a couple years.
Is he still in the WC right now?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to look it up. But to move on there, well, let's just talk about the iRacing from over the weekend there in quote unquote Barber. Kind of walk us through that. How would you say your weekend was?
In Barber, it was more difficult than Watkins. It was harder for me to find the pace there. We had, if I had put together my optimum lap in qualifying, we would have been top 5 because not everyone put in their best performance in that session. So I was kind of disappointed about that in these races, and especially at that track. It's very important to start up front. So the further back you are, the easier it is to get collected and involved in an accident, as you guys have seen. So we had pace we were in the position to finish 7th. I was running behind Dixon for a while, and he was doing a really good job of being quick in areas where I was setting him up to pass. Basically, there's two areas on the track. It's turn 16 and turn 5, the hairpin and the carousel. And he was really fast in those two areas, so I sat behind him for over 10 laps, and he let Felix by, which is natural. And then I got frustrated and tried to throw it in turn 17 and lost a couple spots because of it. And then that's when I was running behind Colton and Pato, I think around in 8th, 9th. And then Pato spun out in front of me. I was collected. The front wing got taken off, and then it was pretty much downhill from there. So,
is that teammate? Is that what I just heard?
What's that?
I'm just kidding around.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, it was just a racing incident. Just happened to be our two cars, but we were running right together, and he lost it going up the hill and in turn 15, 14, I think it was. So, but that's how these races are. I mean, it's a lot of times you can run around in the back and stay out of trouble, and if you can finish on the lead lap without any damage, you're going to be in the top 10 pretty easy. So, I think I've learned a couple lessons, and I don't come from iRacing. I've just literally, this is my very first sim that I'm sitting in front of now. That I built last night, and I was borrowing someone else's. I was running with Symmetric Labs, in South Florida, which is a professional simulator. But I've never had an iRacing account. I've never had my own sim, so I'm learning as we go here, like many other drivers.
How hard has it been to adjust to it? I mean, with your rig that you're building at home, do you have motion built into your rig, or are you just kind of flying by the force feedback in the wheel, and that's really about it?
Yeah, and in iRacing, it's a trend across all cars. You kind of drive off the front tires, and there's not to be quick. You don't have much yaw in the car, so motion isn't essential. It does help, but the biggest thing is having a good engine, a steering engine. So I have a pretty nice one here, and then it's just a Sparco chassis that it's doing the job so far. So we'll see. I'm happy to test this out this weekend at Michigan rather than a road course. I think it'll take me a little bit to get used to a road course for this setup right now. So
you certainly don't have to worry about braking at Michigan, except when you have to pit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like honestly, IndyCar, oval, iRacing. That's all I ever do. It's got to be the most fun on iRacing. Period. You're gonna have a blast, man. Really.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. It's not that I've never wanted to run iRacing or have my own sim. I just never got around to it. So I expect to spend the majority of my time on this thing.
Do you happen to have anyone from the team there to like spot you during the race, especially on like an oval? I mean, you can kind of rely on the iRacing spotter, but in reality, it would be good practice with the team's actual spotter to have someone there to help you.
Yeah, that's a conversation we had today. Actually, I will have my personal spotter with me for this weekend, and then for the rest of the races. With Texas Motor Speedway now that so far scheduled to be our first race, I think it's important to kind of get the lingo going, and this is a perfect tool to get that done.
Never thought of that. Great.
And also, there is software that works with iRacing that we use in the real car as well, like data software and so stuff that the engineers use. And I've downloaded that now on my computer, and it runs with iRacing, and they can actually see it uploads real-time data to my engineers.
Isn't that the McLaren software? I believe there was a McLaren data acquisition software that worked with iRacing.
Was there? Because there's also was it VRS or VLR or something like that? the virtual.
There's a bunch of different ones.
Yeah,
I just wouldn't be
virtual
surprised because I remember there was a McLaren product that they would use that.
Now, like, are the setups for the cars like you like you're not sitting there for 5 hours before the race, like, okay, camber, tink, tink, tink. Like, like, are all the setups just like,
Yeah, they actually
like
use fixed setups
This one.
for all the cars. But that is actually a good question. I don't know if Oliver has done any correlation between setups in the iRacing car versus real life.
I mean, Ollie, don't even bother with the IndyCar. There's way too much going on. I don't even know what I'm looking at. I mean, unless it's a Skip Barber car and I can do like air pressure, I'm not bothering with it. I'll just download something else. Someone else did it. Missy, you're quiet.
Just listening.
Well, I mean, talk. I'm sure Oliver would like to hear from you. He hasn't heard me in a while.
Now, I just want to know, how do you, I guess, I don't know how to word this question, like stay focused on the actual real season? Because you're going to be getting in the car eventually instead of just, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not a video game person. I don't really care for iRacing. So. Sim, whatever.
Video game?
Okay, sim. Sorry. Sim.
Yeah, that's
sim.
better.
So I just don't know, like, how do you stay focused on there is going to be a season going on eventually, and how do you like keep prepared for that, I guess, is what I want to say, to keep focused on the actual season that's going to be happening eventually instead of just doing
You're gonna have to repeat the question, Missy.
No.
It was a good question. Yeah.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, sorry, my whole building just lost power because of the storm coming through. So lost Wi-Fi for a bit, but I'm back on.
I was just asking Oliver. How are you staying like in the mentality of like being, I know I said this so badly, so this is going to be a terrible way I'm saying this, but to stay focused on the actual real season, like getting into a real IndyCar instead of just doing sim racing, virtual reality, whatever you want to call it. Like, how do you stay focused on, what you need to do in the actual card versus the, fake sim?
Well, I think just knowing that with the extra time, I'm even more so expected to get in the car and do well, because for me, the only thing keeping me from performing at my best right now is just the physicality of it. And because we're not in the car so much, not as much as I would if I was racing karts full time right now. I'd be every weekend, almost every day. Because of that, it's hard to train, for the car. But because all these guys have been racing IndyCar for so long, it's a bit easier for them. So just knowing that, I put a lot of pressure on myself, and there's pressure from the team as well to hit the ground running. And I just look at it as more time to be ready when it counts. So you gotta look at it.
Testing, right? In the cars, you're not testing.
No,
there's none of that.
It's called quarantine, miss.
Yeah, I know. Oh, is Indiana that bad? I know we're not.
Country.
I mean, I know Jersey is because we're next to those New Yorkers, but.
Oh wow.
What? They brought it all over here.
I wouldn't blame it on the New Yorkers.
Well, that's all. Well, never mind. Anyway, moving on.
It's nobody's fault. Well, it is somebody's fault, but they're not in this country.
Well, we'll finish up with one last question for Ollie, and we'll let him get out of there. I mean, this building doesn't have any power. I'm hoping it came back on. And
yeah, actually, So this is the first week I've needed to turn the AC on, because I just got here a couple days ago, and when I moved in, it was in November, so I never had to run the AC, and now my AC isn't working, so we're trying to fix that at the moment. But yeah, and then there's a massive torrential downpour outside right now.
Nothing worse than no AC. Just one real quick question though, Ollie. I mean, I know, you know, okay, so Sim still got the arrow screen and everything, but do you think it's going to be a big hindrance to you coming up, or what?
Say that again. Sorry.
I said, so I ran ahead and the Sim to put the arrow screen in. So you are still racing with the arrow screen around, so it's kind of, I don't know, like I found it a little bit hindrance, like, but what do I know? But my point being is, I'm sure you tested in the car before St. Pete and everything. Now the arrow screen, you racing with the arrow screen around you compared to, say the Indy Lights car, and the cars are pretty close together. Let's be fair. So, what's your thoughts on the arrow screen versus no arrow screen?
Yeah,
unless we lost him again. Well, or IndyCar pulled the plug. Nobody talk about the arrow screen. I don't know, one of the two. But just want to thank Ollie. Brave in the storm.
Yeah, it's good friend of the show. Glad we're able to have him on, even during torrential downpours and power outages, and hopefully we'll still be able to have him on later on this season once we actually get on track.
Yes, and you can see him driving in the number 7, right? He's driving the number 7 for Arrow McLaren SP this year.
Yep.
Eventually, they will get in the cars, the actual real car.
And what's the first race now? Texas? Is it? What a great track to start fresh, where your neck is just going to be killing you. I mean, did you kind of build up to that? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, get your time in the gym.
Yeah. Do those Tony Kanaan neck, exercise while you watch TV.
Yeah, it's every day something changes, but looking forward to Texas. The double headers now at Iowa, Laguna Seca, and now a double header on the Indy Road Course just split up over 4th of July. Literally, the 4th of July is first race, and then October, it was the 3rd. I don't have my sheet, but yeah, that will be October. A good fun time. It'll probably be a little bit colder down in Indianapolis, but still, it'll be interesting to see how they can pull off. It is also on the same bill as, think of as Intercontinental GT. There was something else on the schedule that weekend.
Oh, I mean,
yeah,
GT,
some sort of
so
sports
cool.
cars on that weekend.
All about GT sports cars.
I mean, this is the Indy SportsCar podcast, so should talk about sports cars.
Yeah, because you used to like IMSA when we first named this podcast.
Car that matters.
Yeah, she plays with her car all the time. I'll just walk by and she's doing that.
It'll be on the same weekend, the Indianapolis 8-hour race, Intercontinental GT Challenge powered by Pirelli, with its North American counterpart, the GT World Challenge America, powered by AWS. All in this.
So you're saying it's just Pirelli
yes,
GT?
Yes, a very long renamed Pirelli GTs.
Well, they have very long named.
They do.
Like classes.
Very many classes and very long names.
I don't know what I'm looking at when they race. They are just so confusing.
I think it's so that everybody can be on the podium. Because if you have like 10 classes and 30 cars, and in theory, everybody can finish on the podium.
Yeah. Sure. Why not? I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that like when Cadillac left, that series was done for. They're hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, Ollie's trying to text right now, probably saying, "Yeah, my power went back out."
Yeah.
That sucks. That really sucks. We've been trying to get Ollie on for a few months now. It's been it's been a little bit, because he's with a big team. Let's face it. So you have to go through the right channels. It's not like it used to be before, when it was basically, I mean, we cover a lot of RTI, so we get a lot of RTI drivers, and it's easy to book. But with IndyCar drivers, you have to go through the proper channels. Otherwise, the PR guys, they kind of, they have a job to do, and rightfully so. So you don't want to step on their toes. You wind up, getting the guy from Ganassi mad at you.
Well,
Just saying. What's his name again?
Yeah, that's
Doesn't matter.
See, that's why you guys have me. I know things. I know the way things work.
It's like, hey, Ed, a head up, maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit of heads up, Ed.
And
wouldn't have hurt.
one thing I did notice is a lot of the non-essential IndyCar staff has been laid off. So big shout outs to all those people who are not working right now, and hopefully we'll be able to see them all at the track here shortly. It includes like the vast majority of the PR team, like Arnie and Kurt Cabin and those guys.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I did see Arnie. He was kind of like the guy behind the scenes of the whole iRacing thing, or the e-racing thing. I seen Arnie. So that was cool to see. But he's normally the guy that's in the media center, kind of directing the post race stuff.
Directing kind of the circus, as they say. Kind of the ringmaster.
Yeah, and he keeps. No, but yeah, Missy and I owe a lot to Arnie. So
yeah,
shout out to Arnie.
Arnie is a good guy.
He's a good dude. He's like, sorry, yeah, I'm done. Big power outage here. His power's out totally. It hasn't come back on. Because once it starts flickering, it's just a matter of time before that wire snaps.
Time on there.
Yeah. So, but as
Florida, Jupiter,
Florida.
Home of good
Florida,
massage parlors.
So Ollie should be, or I keep saying Ollie. I gotta say Oliver. He's an IndyCar driver.
He's not. Yeah, he's not a kid
Oliver should
anymore.
be used to these.
Not in the road.
I know. Well, I met him. He was. Well, he really wasn't a kid when I met him either. But anyway. But he should be used to these like power outages. Hurricanes and whatnot. In Florida. It's crazy. So anyway, Jared, any recent news stories that come up that, oh, by the way, I just want to say, I just saw today, it was released today by David Malsher, and if you guys would like, I will post it, or just, Missy, where can they go for the show to see all of our shows that we've had in the past, so they can see where the Bob Varsha show is that me and Bob Varsha had after he yelled at me for an hour for not being on time, but he was kind of wrong while he was in France. When was that?
I'm sorry, what did you want?
Never mind. My point being is, just go to the IndySportsCarPodcast.com. Whatever pod.
No, you didn't say it right.
What do you want me to say?
Go on.
Go ahead.
www.theindysportscarpodcast.com.
Thank you, Missy. So go there, check out me and Bob Varsha having a great interview. Lasted a little bit over an hour, but very interesting, man. I mean, as far as American, like I'm, my generation, like Jared, your you feel me here. Where when you think of F1, Bob Varsha is our pretty much gateway into the F1 world, right? I mean, so. He had just gotten done his final treatments of chemo. He's cancer free, but you know what he's not free of? The coronavirus. He just got tested positive today. So, Bob, Mr. Varsha, Bob, he said, please call me Bob, so I'm allowed to do that. The rest of you, Mr. Varsha, please send your thoughts and prayers out to him. Hopefully he gets better. We all know that this thing loves to really screw up people who have predetermined injuries. And so he's just getting off of chemo. It means your immune system ain't up to par. That's a bit nerve-wracking, to say the least. So I hope Mr. Varsha comes out of this on top. But he's a trooper. And just it was a sad thing to see. I was like, oh no, so, and like seeing it, it would have been like, but the way Mulcher put it, coming off of successful chemo cancer therapy, it was just, So this thing is all over the place. There's a reason why we're seeing it on TV, the e-racing. I wish the memes would stop, because like once it hits your family, it feels a little bit more real. I'm glad my brother's better. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying. So I mean, Jared, I don't know if you knew that or Missy, but I saw that. David also wrote a great story about it earlier today, right around noon.
I did not see that, but I will have to definitely check that out.
I'm sure Missy will link it on the page, one of them, one of our many social media outlets, probably Twitter, more than likely. Excuse me.
I can. I don't know if I did that. I did see the story because it was a couple days ago. I seen that story. It wasn't today. It was like.
Okay, let me rephrase. I read it today at noon.
Yeah, I think that story came out a couple days ago. Sorry. But I did see it a couple days ago.
I've been training a new guy all week. Give me a break. I am spent. I am done. I've been working since Monday morning, so I'm done.
Oh, join the club.
You've been training a new guy? You've been trying to teach a plumber how to do electric? Huh? You know how hard that is?
You want to switch jobs?
No.
Well, then.
Pregnant women all day? Just saying. I just want to deal with one eventually. Moving on. So, yeah, but that was just the one story that I saw that I just wanted to, put out there. So, okay, it was a couple days ago. My bad. Jared, what are you doing? If it's a couple days ago, Missy already knows about it, and she just lets me die, crash and burn, and then say she knew about it. She won't stop me in the middle of it. She's like, today, huh, Frank? Let me see how far you take this. Keep sounding like an idiot, Frank.
I enjoy it some days,
Yeah, it's fun. Jared, don't be like Missy. I need some backup here.
Well, I mean, I can switch topics here, kind of steer the ship, if you will.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw out
a
well wishes.
There's a member of my girlfriend's family who is currently in the hospital on a ventilator and not the best of shape, and thoughts and prayers are out with her and the whole family, and it's tough, but life, it will get better. Life will move on. We will eventually get back to, for the most part, normal. Some things will never be the same, but we will. Life finds a way, if you will. Oh, we actually watched it last night.
Must go faster.
Yes.
Must go faster.
But yes, to kind of shift gears here back to the iRacing, we didn't cover the Road to Indy had their second race of the Rick Motec Racing Simulator Z Series. They were at Circuit of the Americas, and Felipe Denise once again won the race from pole, led all but a couple laps. They actually instated basically made the race long enough for a mandatory pit stop on the Road to Indy, which is an interesting twist for a lot of these drivers that aren't used to making pit stops.
What series?
The Road to Indy Rick Motec E-Series. Hosted by Rob Howden.
Road to Indy is... Yeah, and it's a broad...
Yes,
all three series racing team?
There were 33 drivers among the three rungs to the Road to Indy are all in this one series. They're all driving the old Star Mazda, Pro Mazda car. And yeah, back-to-back wins now for Felipe Denise. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
How did her do?
Let's see here. I don't see his name on this list.
Well, he sure spent a lot of money then for nothing.
Yeah. Well, and I also see here other friend of the show, Mr. Robert McGinnis.
Yeah,
Mr. Robert McGinnis didn't fare too well either. He finished not so great. But he's Bobo. He will return.
Oh, Bobo! No, that's okay. I still have the video that I'm going to release of him. I don't know what he's doing with the cowboy boy boots on, but hold it over him. Yeah. The other day I was like, dude, you got to come on the next few weeks. I don't know, man. I'm pretty busy. And then I sent him the video and be like, he goes, all right, let me know what day.
Yeah, I love blackmail.
I was like, I will release this. Yeah, I know. I'm blackmailing Robert McGinnis to come on. This is ridiculous. But apparently it's funny. That's totally made up, by the way. I did not do that. But he's a funny dude. But yeah, no, I mean, I went back and looked at what Hunter was talking about and what he got.
You got some quality gear.
So Boyaka shot. I mean, the shipping alone had to be a month.
Yeah.
And I make bank.
I work for a trucking company. It'd probably be one of those things where I would be better at backing up the whole truck.
Well, yeah. Steal the truck.
Throw it on the back of the trailer, man.
I don't know if I'd want to get into one of those rigs that move all around. I'd probably get seasick.
The ones that I saw, like the Rick Motec website there, they sell a whole bunch of stuff. They even have some of their own, and they have one is two different types of motion. One of them is like Oliver said, a yaw thing where the back end of your seat moves side to side to simulate when the rear end loses grip. And if you're good enough, you can feel it in the wheel, but you can also still feel the front grip and feel the rear grip kind of independently. And the other one they had was it hooks. You actually harness yourself into the seat, and the restraints are hooked up to a motor and pulley. And so, like, as you accelerate, the belts will tighten to feel you pull back, and as you brake, they'll release so you move forward, and as you turn, it'll like pull one side of it versus the other so that it pulls your body to the side. So, I mean, if you're to combine all that, you would get a pretty highly realistic feel to it. I just don't know how much it would actually help your iRacing, given that the two of them together is almost $6,000. Yes.
Jesus. That's like, I mean, when I got my Fanatec, whenever it was like 6 years ago, I thought I spent a lot of money on that, and I was like, wow, this is going to put me back a little bit.
I love a Fanatec. I just have a G27. It's okay. I mean, it's a good starter wheel. I've upgraded the pedals on it, like the brake pedal. I got a nice spring for it, so it's a little bit. I see you there, Frank, with the look on your face. And I can guarantee Missy is used to seeing that look on his face. But yes, I'm a poor when it comes to that kind of stuff.
No, you're not. No, see, I mean, like I don't. I mean, actually, I think my mom got me this for my. No, I bought this. Yeah. Anyway, no, she helped me out to get this because I didn't have exactly enough. Yeah, and my last computer took a crash on me, so I just went out and bought a new one, and the last wheel I had wasn't compatible because it was like Windows Vista or something. And anything above Windows Vista, you were screwed. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the new Windows to come out, and this thing just won't work again. I'm like, no. But I mean, I really do want to get that Fanatec set up where you can detach wheels, you know.
Yeah,
on the
because
F1
honestly, that's what I want is like an F1, an actual Formula kind of wheel, and something that actually has some real force to it that I actually have to fight.
Dude, this thing, if you hit the wall at,
I
like,
want
say,
it to
230,
rip
like if
out
you're
of
in the
my
IndyCar, if you hit the
hands
wall,
and break my wrists like the actual IndyCar would.
Yeah, like I had this thing dampened down to 3% so it won't rip my wrist apart. Like 7%, and this thing's breaking bones. It is insane. All gear driven and everything. You can hear it too, because I can never shut it off because the little start, on off buttons broke. So I finally got to stay on. I'm like, don't touch it.
Yeah,
so it stays on.
One thing we didn't get to mention that Bill Gregory here noticed and we forgot to mention is Dale Earnhardt Jr. going to be racing in Indy cars this weekend. Jimmy Johnson had been repping the NASCAR side the last couple weeks, but Dale Jr. will be competing at MIS this weekend. Good old Junior.
By the way, I mean, out of all the NASCAR drivers, I would say he's one of the he's like the only one that doesn't bug me, I guess.
He's a good
guy. Way to say it.
It'll be interesting to see something because he has no Formula experience whatsoever.
No, because I could watch him race and actually see the racecraft behind what he was doing. Like I could see him. I mean, on a super speedway, I could watch him control each line at his will, and when he was in the lead, you know what I mean. And you don't see that too often or anymore at all, So I thought that was pretty amazing that he's able to do that. So I give him credit for that. And that's it. That's about it. And he pretty much couldn't race anything else because he kind of had to follow Dad. He kind of fell into the business, People would have been mad if he would have left. Well, then again, they get mad at anything. But and I heard what is NASCAR's finale Phoenix?
I
have
Phoenix no idea.
I don't know. Just check out. I think it's the podcast is called. It's the first race. I wouldn't call it a racing podcast because it's a sports podcast, but it's done by a buddy of ours, Phil from North Jersey. I think it's called Fill in the Blank with an exclamation point at the end. So check that out. And he talks sports like he brought me up to date with the NFL and AFC draft or NFC AFC draft because that's not going to be postponed. They don't care. I don't think any NFL draftee has to worry about this, even if they get it. Let's be honest. So now that might be a blanket statement or an ignorant statement, but how they say whatever. Never mind. Maybe it is an ignorant statement. I don't know because I'm saying because they're all young, they're about the most physically fit people on the face of the earth. So that's why I said that.
Viruses do not discriminate.
Yes, they do. Well, I wouldn't say they don't discriminate, but I'm not going to go through this. So anyway, moving on. But yeah, so check his podcast out. So, but when I was listening to it, I don't even know where I was going with it. Whatever. Moving on.
I'm just about out of topics.
Where was I going with that? Like, what were you talking about? And then I said something, and then I said, oh yeah, Phil was talking about that. Oh right, the NASCAR's
yes, it is at Phoenix.
Final race. Okay, so what a finale, NASCAR. I mean, if NASCAR didn't want to just bury the sport even more, they are doing their darndest to really just have it crumble to the ground. There's only a few bricks left, and they're just. I mean,
yeah, won't Phoenix West enjoy it?
No. No, he hates racing. You need my co-host from LIW, the Twilight Zone Review. Thank you,
yeah,
Jared.
to thank Gregorio for bringing it up.
Thanks,
If
Greg.
you were reading chat, you would see that.
Yeah. Well, I have my phone on, but it keeps just shutting off. I need to go in the settings, and I just don't have the time because I can't read and do the show at the same time. Because when there's dead air, because not like Missy will pick it up.
Frank can't multitask, so.
No. I can't even listen and read at the same time. Missy, talk about something. I'm checking out.
Are you now?
Yeah, I'm gonna read some stuff.
Well,
You see, guys, we don't edit. You know what I mean? This is what you got. I mean, that's it.
I don't know. I mean, there's not.
It's all e-racing stuff. What are you going to talk about?
You know, I did try to watch it this weekend. I did. I made a valiant effort.
How long did you last?
It's not important. It's not important.
That's not an answer.
It's not important how long I lasted.
If it was 4 seconds, it's 4 seconds. I haven't watched 1 second of it, and I race it every day. So,
I mean, I had it on, right? So that gave them a little bit of, rating, right?
I won't even.
Well, here's the story. I see it in car.com that Missy might like. Dallara has temporarily converted their factory there in Speedway to, it says here, they're using cutting tables that they used to cut the fiber cloth of the race cars, and they're preparing materials for face masks and gowns that is then picked up twice a day. Like the Dallara staff's cutting all the materials and stuff, and Stitchworks, company there in downtown Indy, they pick it up twice a day. They sew the material up and deliver it to the hospitals. So it's nice to see even
isn't it too for the people at the hospitals who have it?
Yeah, for the
workers
or whoever.
For patients.
There's extra supplies and PPE for the hospitals. So it's great to see Dallara and other people stepping up to help out in this time of need.
It is. Since I know my job, they told us because everybody's making their own mask, I guess these days.
I'm making one.
My job, they told us no, you can't have your own mask.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Apparently, the governor of this fine state, on Friday, if you leave your house, you must have a mask on now. So you know what my mask is going to have on the front of it? 1984. Yep. And Missy goes, why? You were born in 83. And I just went, do you know why, Jared? I would put 1984 on my mask. Do you know why?
Probably some Twilight Zone reference.
Ha. Oh my God. See? He didn't know either.
What is wrong with you people?
Yeah, and I mean, it's either that or it's 1984 Space Odyssey. So. 2000. I don't. I'm still way
You're
up.
still.
I don't know any of that.
Have you ever heard of it?
I have
Orwellian
not.
Society?
Yes. 1984 is a book.
Thank you, Greg.
And I was also told.
He's actually.
Do you guys know that Will Power won the Open Wheel 250 last Friday night? Some big race that I think Joseph Newgarden put on. But Will got a win after finishing second.
I know one our driver that absolutely despises.
I mean, have you seen his mustache? If his mustache alone is proof enough that he doesn't give a crap about any of this.
I was talking to Damien, dude. I was talking to Damien Power. I tweeted it after he posted. I was talking to Damien Power. He named it Mervin the Mustache. I'm not joking. Will Power named his mustache Mervin. Mervin the Mustache. I was talking to Damien about
you're a liar.
Damien told me. Would Damien, his comedic brother, lie to me?
He's a comedian.
Possibly, yes.
Possibly.
Mervin. Well, I don't know if I like Mervin the Mustache.
It rhymes.
Maybe it could be Murray. Murray
the Mustache.
Murray the mustache. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call it. Murray.
It's gonna be hilarious how
Murray
fast it disappears once the season starts.
Murray also.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Texas.
Oh, it's gonna be night and day, instantaneous. Actually, the first day he has to report to the shop.
What
it'll be gone.
Talking about that. I was. Yeah, I mean, Will's made his feelings absolutely known about this whole thing. He's just
poor Liz though.
Hanging in with everybody.
I can't imagine having to like look at that. I know she actually has to get close to it, and that's unfortunate.
Depending on what you mean by close, maybe she might like it.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
The mustache came in second place in the Alabama, whatever it's called, iRacing Challenge, Barber.
You did not get.
I got it. But Missy tried to divert back to the iRacing, which will finish second to Team Penske teammate Scott McLaughlin.
No.
I didn't even want to make the really horrible joke. I just couldn't help myself.
It's too easy.
There, right? That's why I went for it.
I forgot Frank is quite easy
all the time. Yeah.
I have a better name for his mustache, Murray.
I like Mervin. I
don't like Mervin.
I see Will's mustache. I immediately think Mervin mustache. I'm just saying. Mervin the mustache. It rhymes. It's Mervin. It's a weird name.
Nah.
Will's a weird guy. It fits.
I like Murray.
That's because Carl has.
I know.
Yeah, it's because of Carl's mustache. Because we have a friend Carl who's a state trooper, and he gets to grow the mustache. You know, he named his mustache Murray the mustache. That's him. Like we didn't name it, he did. He's a lunatic.
Yes, you wouldn't believe how many times I've gotten into a fight with Murray.
Yeah.
The mustache.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
I don't know how to take that, but it's the truth.
Oh yeah, that's a good name for his mustache. Mo Power.
Mo Power mustache?
Mo Power.
Mm. Mo the mustache? So it would be Mo Power?
Mo the
Mervin
stash.
Mo the mustache or Mo Power, you know, for formal events. I kind of like that actually. Okay, Greg, fair enough.
Mo Power for willpower.
I like the hot mic. See, audience contributions. There you go, Greg. Good job, Gregorio.
Yes, it is nice having an audience here to chat with.
I miss my iPad. If I had my iPad, I could set it up there. But no, it's in pieces on a UPS truck someplace. Anyway, all right. So
that's all. Yeah.
Texas. They canceled Detroit, and they're going to have a doubleheader at the road course at IMS at the end of the season.
Yep.
So
yeah. Plus, there's still a TBA rescheduling date for St. Pete.
Yeah, they're holding on to that pipe dream.
Yeah, and it will be interesting. The Iowa doubleheader is a Friday-Saturday race.
Yeah, you hear that, Missy, so now there is a reason for us to go back to Iowa. Was one more year. It isn't tempting now, because now, yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Really not.
It really is.
It's still a 18-hour drive.
Yeah, but not for just one race and go home. Now it's 3 days. It's
see if you can hitch a ride with somebody and just fly in and land at the airport that's right next door to the track. That's when you know you're baller, when you can actually fly into Newton.
Well, book your flight now. They're cheap.
Yes.
Just saying. My boss literally asked me, "Can you fly down to Florida to bring me the paperwork because it's cheaper than FedEx?" I'm like, "What? And stay with you for the next 14 days?" No. No.
And one thing I have been hearing is don't be surprised if Toronto gets canceled, because with they've already canceled anything up in Montreal for months.
And Canada's not really that hard hit, to be honest with you.
No.
Are they? But then again,
I think a couple of moose caught it or something.
I wonder how. Well, I don't want to think about it. Those Canadians. Get it?
Yes, I get it.
I'm on fire. Oh my goodness.
You heard what I said.
Here with that, hey, Missy.
No. Don't even start that.
Oh my god.
Now people will see when I hit you upside your head.
They already, yeah. What do you mean? They already did. You already done it.
You deserve that.
So, it's funny. It was worth it.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was. You know, I just didn't have anything planned to talk about because we planned to have Oliver talk more than us tonight. So, at least he came on though, so I didn't look foolish because I really hate like posting things that we didn't do yet. But you know, doing the live thing, posting Ollie out there, you know. So I took a gamble. I'm glad he came on. But I mean, Oliver's always been a stand-up guy.
So what's the next race?
Texas.
No. The next iRace is this Saturday, Michigan.
No, it's Gateway at like around 10:15 for me. Yep.
Yeah.
Are they? I guess they're not televising it again, right?
No, it is. It should be. Everything I've heard, it's televised again.
Yep. Yeah, no, they're keeping it going. You kidding? The ratings that they got off of it is insane.
I mean,
I'll put it on my TV. I can't promise I'll watch it though.
Well, I'll be hot miking it from either my work or right here again. But probably my work because they have cable there.
Also, Jared, these streams will be going up on a dedicated YouTube
YouTube
page.
Right? I just started the Indy SportsCar podcast YouTube page today. Kind of retrofitted my old one or something over to that, and it's probably tomorrow. This will be uploaded to the YouTube page.
All right. Well, see, that works because the live stream will go up on your YouTube page, and the podcast goes up on my YouTube page, even though it's called Way Off Topic Radio. But I need to change it back because Scott made a different YouTube page that's Way Off Topic Radio because we do that live on Saturday nights. So I need to change it. I don't know what I'm doing with my YouTube page. I just need to change the name completely. But yeah, it's because I pay for Amazon or YouTube Red, so and it's the email that I used off the bat. I really need to change that. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, I'm on motorsport.com, and it's just so hard to grab any kind of content other than esports. And I know a lot of people are into it, and I know a lot of, you know, like Mike is kind of organizing different different events for the fans to join up, and that's cool. I think he even started a podcast, an esports podcast, which is that's cool. Yeah, it's really good that Mike really took to the podcasting like a fish in water.
Yeah, I mean, it's your job. I mean, the one thing about his working from home is he was working from home is podcasting you do from home. So this hasn't really affected him much other than there's no actual real racing. But it's cool to see him adapt to the times and find a way to kind of jump and keep on it. Good for him.
Pretty much, he took IndyCar's lead. You know, IndyCar did everything they could to keep people's attention still on IndyCar, no matter what. That's the situation. So he was like, well, I'm going to do the same thing for the fans, create as much content for them as I can. And
I've been asking for this for years.
You have?
Yeah. When I first started writing at iRacing, I originally wanted to get them to put Belle Isle on iRacing, which did end up happening, unrelated to anything I ever did. But to be able to, because like they have NASCAR series on there and all sorts of stuff, and for them to have an actual official iRacing series that has real drivers in it is something good that people can see. Hopefully, it'll be something that in the off season in the future, that you'll see kind of an uptick in more drivers doing it to kind of keep it relevant during the otherwise lengthy off season.
Yeah. Right on. Well, okay, so I'll end it here. You mentioned Bubba Wallace. I do know a bit about this story thanks to David Land. If you want to go listen to his take on iRacing, it's controversial as usual. I wouldn't call him a charlatan for it because I see his point, and he did say a lot of good things in the beginning before he kind of went after a few things of it, which is fine. You can't expect iRacing to all of a sudden like revamp their entire, system just to accommodate this type of format that they're not used to doing for the last 20 freaking years almost. So step off of iRacing a bit, Dave, but it's fine. But the Bubba Wallace thing. Rage quitting, we've all done it if you do iRace. If you're a professional driver, though, and you're sponsored by Blue Emu, which is a hysterical sponsor, by the way. Blue Emus. They live home where there's in Australia, home of the upside down Whopper. Anyway, so what Blue Emu said, or how they reacted to it, they should have just let it go. Jared, what do you think? Now, Blue Emu paid him to race that car.
Yeah, I mean, to lose a real life sponsorship over it. Yeah, I mean, they paid money for him to compete, and I don't know if they were giving them fast repairs or not. I mean, in the IndyCar race, you get
used up his 2 already. It was the 3rd time he got wrecked in that one race, and he goes, "You guys, I already used up my my 2 quick repairs. I'm done. I'm out of this race. I'm wrecked. This is ridiculous. I'm out."
I mean, and I get it too that it did appear that he was intentionally wrecked by Clint Boyer, who was upset over a move like a couple corners before.
I saw the replay, man. Clint Boyer held his line, and he was just bumped.
He turned his wheel dead right into him.
Yeah, I mean, you because you can select different camera angles. If you went into the cockpit angle,
you can see the wheel go just turn hard
really,
right.
Yeah, turning left all the time, guys. You're not when you go right. That's intentional takeout. I don't care what you say.
And so it basically exposed the inherent flaw of the whole sim racing thing, to where if these drivers who are cup drivers don't take it seriously as if they were in the real car themselves, it's only going to influence the product and make the racing suck even more than it would have if it were real.
See, and here's the thing though. I don't ever race NASCAR and iRacing because they suck. They don't know what racecraft is. They don't know how, it happens all the time. Even in A class, it happens all the time.
Yeah.
You get wrecked all the time. If you want to lose your license, like if you want to go from an A license to a D license in 1 week, race NASCAR, nothing but NASCAR all week. You'll get there. You want to climb your license, race IndyCar. You hardly ever get wrecked out on purpose, and if you do, and it's an accident, you still get a sorry. On NASCAR, people are cursing each other out. There is no respect. There's no kind of respect at all, and it's amazing how like on iRacing, and yes, it's a sim. I get it, but it just goes to show you the type of fan that gravitates towards the type of racing when you go to iRacing, right? And I don't need to say more than that.
Yeah, if you treat it like it's real, then you're gonna act and behave in there as if it was real. I can guarantee you that if that was a real life race and Clint Boyer turned right directly into him, he would get his ass reamed by his owner, the crew, everybody, because that's not the way you treat those cars. But since it's a fake car on a fake track and there's no real consequences, he felt slighted. He got mad, so I'm just gonna take him out. And you wouldn't see that necessarily in real life because there would be real consequences to that type of action.
Well, yeah,
Before or after the fists were thrown in real life.
Right, and that's the thing. You would actually end up with that.
After the race, face to face, a fist fight.
Yeah.
It happens all the time with them.
I can guarantee you, if they were in the all in different simulator cockpits in the same room, there would have been a fist fight.
Oh yeah.
That would have been the camera angle I'd want to see. Just show me the room with all the drivers in their cockpits there so I can see them throw down for real because someone cut them off on a fake racetrack.
I wonder how many NASCAR drivers are iRacing with a controller.
There's got to be at least one. There's
got to be like half.
It's got to be some truck series driver who's just scraping by just the shoestring budget. I got me a Xbox controller. Can I use that?
I got me a Sega Genesis. Will this work? I hate that accent. All right. So but good luck to Ollie in the upcoming season. It's really cool that he's got 2 engineers and not just one like everyone else.
Yeah, it's a big adjustment from having to communicate and just relay between one guy. Now you got a team of guys that you got to learn how to speak to each of them, how each one of them reads and interprets every different thing, and it's a lot to process. So that's from what I've heard is probably the hardest learning curve. Going from road to IndyCar is just the amount of information that's thrown at you, and the amount of people that you have to interact with and interpret all of that data.
Yeah. So that was a good question that you asked him about the spotter, because a spotter can pick any angle he wants. He can be in the blimp if he wants.
Yeah. And I had a feeling with it being an oval like that, and these guys, they have spotters, and these spotters are just like them, sitting at home doing nothing. I had a feeling that they would have game planned something like that.
Eric Filigaris would throw down with you right now, sir. Just saying.
Well,
it's okay. It's an old friend from the show. Right?
My apologies. I didn't know. I'm like Frank. I don't know nothing.
He won best hair of MRTI back in 2015.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Best.
Eric
okay,
Foguer.
so but the real question is best post-race hair.
Eric Fogueris.
Because it's impressive the lengths.
See, Eric's helmet was form fitted to his hair.
Okay,
so,
that makes sense. Because you see the amount of an Elio who just throws on an entire jar of gel every morning, and he takes that headstock off and his helmet, and it looks like he never even did anything. Like he just got out of the shower and put in all that hair gel. It's crazy.
Yeah, and would you like to know his secret?
I would.
It's bedheads. Bedheads. That's it. That's all he uses. Bedheads. Everybody thinks he has this big, purse of hair products because it looks so good. And Elio's laughing. He's like, I don't know why everybody. It's just bedheads. But he says it beta-heads. 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 What's it called? Beta-heads? Beta-heads. Yeah, that's all it is, guys. Beta-heads. I wake up in the morning, I put beta-heads in. I swear to God, I said that.
I love it.
Because Dario asked him that during some sort of ceremony. You remember that? It was 2 years ago?
I think so, yeah.
Where Dario hosted some sort of ceremony for Elio. Yeah.
Well, we'll definitely have to have Oliver back on the show, especially come the month of May when he gets to team up with Fernando Alonso. So that will be a.
You mean August?
Yes.
The month of
I'm.
So far.
It's wishful thinking.
Is it August?
Yes. Is it August yet? But
hashtag is it November yet?
don't talk like that.
I know some people don't want to hear that. And
I mean,
it
but
sucks.
then again,
Neither do I, but it'd be really cool if there was a race on my birthday weekend. That'd be great. Just
October
saying.
30th in a race. I don't think
Just
that
saying.
the drivers would like that.
I would.
Might be a bit brisk.
I would like it.
I mean, I know it gets hot in the car when it's like hot out. It's
oh,
even
they're
worse.
gonna love it. Well, they're gonna love that October race with that Arrow screen because it's that much hotter in the car.
That's true. Like, and that was the one question I wanted to ask. Like, you know, you didn't get a whole lot to test through the Arrow screen, but you got a little bit, and you're coming off of Indy Lights. Plus, the one great thing about iRacing is anything that changes with any of the series that they do stay in, constant goose step with. They change, the specs right away.
Yeah.
And now you go to iRacing, you'll see the Arrow screen, so you'll get to see the insane perspective from it. And it took me like a good 2 races to get used to it. How about you, Jared?
It's definitely an adjustment, especially on an oval.
Yeah. Like I keep thinking I'm turning too much, so then I don't turn enough, and then I have to correct it, and then I just go right around. Like it's really odd. Everything's like looking through like I don't know, like a water effect, Like
yeah, it's got a little bit of distortion there.
Yeah, like an aquarium. Like that fish is not that big, or maybe he is. I just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, all right. So,
Missy,
was there?
Missy got anything left? Otherwise, there's just one thing left.
Hit it.
Now on that note, you know that I know that, well, Frank's, he still never knows. Jared, you might know. I got know him a little, I guess. But we all know Ollie is in IndyCar now,
Called it.
And we're still here.
What? We're still live?
No, well, for now. But I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. We'll be back next week. I will try to see if I can find us a guest.
Robert McGinnis.
Well, yeah, I'll see what Bobo's doing. Let him know. I had an idea of somebody,
the boots,
a buddy of mine,
so
but I'll see if we can get Bobo on the show. I will reach out to his people.
His people is called Bob McGinnis.
Yeah, I know, but
it's funny. Robert. Okay, real quick, Jared. Is Robert going to be in IndyCar next year?
Depends on if he's got the money. It's all about money. You win the scholarship or you got to have money. I don't know if he has what it takes to get the paid ride, but it's possible.
Hey, Jared, did you grow up learning fencing?
I did not.
He's got the money.
Okay. Well, I mean, in that case, then yeah. Then we'll see. We'll see what happens. But we will see everybody else next week.
Love Bob. All right, guys. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
It's been fun.